Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting.
In this episode, eggs in the fridge, 10-year-old Worcestershire sauce, Dalek cartoons and the astroturfed house.
Now, Lippy.
Hello.
We had a bit of a problem last week.
Did we?
Yes, we did. Unbeknown to you, which is why you sound surprised.
Oh, no.
So we did what we normally do. So we record the main part of the podcast.
Yes.
Then I attempt to write a humorous introduction. And then we have between 1 and 3 goes at you recording it.
Yeah.
And then I edit it to the music at the beginning of the podcast.
Yes.
So anyway, I got to the point of doing that. And it went, in this episode, Lippy admits to being wrong. And it stopped.
Oh no!
So somehow you broke Squadcast.
Or muted it maybe, but without realising.
Well, there must be some sort of Lippy filter in there where it goes, whoa, no,
She is
not having
not
that.
wrong.
So I had to do it, and I wasn't very good at it.
How many times did it take you? Because I've got it down to 1 or 2 now. I'm not too bad.
Well, interesting. It took me 2 goes because the first time I did it, it cut it off.
Oh,
And then the second time, the second time I left it for 20 seconds after I finished speaking before I stopped it.
Okay.
And that was all right. So apologies for last week's listeners.
Having to listen to
Lippy's
your
dulcet
voice.
tones. Yeah, quite. Last week we had a message from the Screaming Tomato about firing bullets into and maiming rugby spectators. And I was thinking about that afterwards, and I was wondering how on earth they measured the trajectory. I'm thinking, well, maybe it went into seat, so the bullet went through the body into the seat. So I put that down on the notes for this week, and then I had a message from the Screaming Tomato, and typically he had managed to find some excerpts in Google Books, a book which has got the subtitle Scams of the Underworld. And it's 4 bits that it doesn't quite read properly. So picking between the bits is that obviously the chap that was shot survived. He was obviously a bit shocked and in quite a bit of pain.
Yeah.
But he did survive.
That's good.
And then he went back to the stadium once he had recovered and sat in the position that he was when he was shot.
Oh, so the policeman could see exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And they could work out where, presumably, there was an entrance and an exit route. So they were able to take some measurements. And it went to the South African Police's ballistics unit. And they used a piece of software and trajectory and stuff like that, and knowing the size of the bullet. And they worked out roughly where it would come from. I'll say roughly. The actual area, depending on the size of the bullet, was either just under half a square kilometre or under 0.1 of a square kilometre, which is phenomenally precise.
Impressive.
And obviously correct, because they
Not from
found
the
where
guy's
it come
door,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Absolutely incredible. So if you're interested in reading more about that, Scams of the Underworld section of a book on South Africa. So very interesting. Thank you, Screaming Tomato.
Yeah.
That was very well
done.
found.
Yeah.
Very well found. I had another thought last week as well. Why don't we have a code name for Chris?
We didn't think of one, and then I started saying Chris, and then there's no point in having one after that. We should give him one, though.
I think we need one.
Can you think of a good one? Or had you
A
thought
good
of
one.
a good one?
No, I haven't. No, I see this as your domain.
I'll have to have a little think about that. We can't be rude now.
We can't be rude, but none of our names are rude.
True.
So maybe we'll see what happens with the moving on Friday.
Yes.
Which we'll come on to in due course.
I believe his mum listens to the podcast, so hopefully she can give us a...
Oh, that's a
She
good
could
one.
give us a good nickname for him.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll
I'm
love
liking
that.
Yes, if you'd
ask.
like to get in contact, then yes, we will baptise him for a second time, but allegedly. Now, we had quite a bit of feedback about eggs in fridges, or not in fridges,
Yeah.
and seems to have split opinion, pretty much 50-50, has to be said. So the general consensus, though, according to Tinternet, is to store eggs in the fridge, but not in the egg racks commonly found in the fridge door, which we have. Little things
why?
for putting eggs in. Egg racks are susceptible to changes in temperature due to the fridge door opening and closing, and can make your eggs go rotten quickly. And as you quite rightly pointed out, our eggs don't last long enough in this household to go rotten, so it's not a problem for us.
So you could have them
interesting.
in the egg rack in the fridge, just not in the fridge door.
Yes, but presumably you could leave them in the cardboard. All cardboard now, aren't they? Just push them on a shelf, which seems like the best thing. But it does seem you do need to keep them in the fridge.
Oh, well, I will start putting my eggs in the fridge then.
Well, obviously nothing's happened from not putting in the fridge, so...
I'm still alive and well so far. But I am quite
indeed.
fussy about things like food things normally.
Yes.
Like things that have out of date, even by a day, I won't eat it.
Oh, it's interesting you should say that, because do you remember a few months ago we had an interesting story from, let's call him the Bristol cat undertaker, who had buried the same cat twice.
Yes.
And he'd heard us talking about balsamic last week, mentioned about Worcestershire sauce. And does it go bad? And apparently it would last up to 10 years unopened.
Crazy.
And once it's opened, 2 to 4 years.
That's still impressive.
And I found a doesitgobad.com website, which is full of useful information about things like this.
I might need that link because I'll be using that.
It will be on our webpage on Friday.
I'll be using that then. Although we use HelloFresh, so with the amount of food that we have in our cupboards that I wouldn't know how long it lasted is minimal.
Yes.
A thing like pasta, that lasts forever.
Well, it doesn't last forever, but it does last quite a long while.
Almost. Yeah.
And I think things in a tin last pretty much forever.
Yes.
If the tin's not broken. Actually, we'll come back to that. Interestingly, though, the Dorking cat killer is down in your neck of the woods, Bristol cat undertaker. Maybe there's some sort of Sweeney Todd enterprise going on there.
One of them kills them, the other one buries them.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I did do some work for a gentleman who was pet cremationist, if that's the right word, many years ago.
I would say that's the right word.
Yeah, a very nice chap who was very keen on football. We built a fantasy football league website together, which was quite interesting.
You helped build one, right? Got you.
I did the technical bit. But
I was going to say, I thought you were like involved in the actual fantasy football team. I was
Good God, no. No. Surely not. I also found a little snippet in Private Eye a week or so ago about Doctor Who, so I photographed it and sent it to Davros, as I do with anything I come across Doctor Who related. And it was a letter to Private Eye, and he finished off with I will get out more, which is a common sign-off with letters to Private Eye for some reason. But I've had to go upstairs so the Daleks can't get me. Davros quite rightly pointed out that they've been able to climb stairs for 30 years.
Is it that long? It can't be that long, because I remember watching
think it's that long.
the episode. I feel like we watched it. I remember you were up in arms because Daleks went up the stairs, or they levitated.
Yes. You see, the problem with that is one of my favourite cartoons, which was in Punch magazine many years ago, in fact in the 80s, was 3 Daleks at the bottom of the stairs talking to one another, going, that messes up our plans to conquer the universe because they can't go upstairs. Interestingly, I had a short spell in hospital a few years ago, and a friend of mine sent me that very card completely coincidentally, which is stuck on my pinboard. And it is one of my favourite jokes. And of course, the moment they could fly upstairs, the joke was gone, which was really quite upsetting. Now, Lippy,
Yes.
Friday's soon upon us. How is the packing going? Oh, interestingly, before you start, I was speaking to the Bristol cat undertaker during the week, and I said, I'm off on Friday. He went, he said, I know. What do you mean you know? He said, I've been listening. I said, I feel like I'm there with you.
Well, if anyone wants to come along and actually help, you're more than welcome.
What do you mean I'm not actually helping?
No, I mean like saying that they're with us if they actually want to be there with us and help.
Yes. My advice to you is don't. To stay away.
I'm a very organised kind of person, and certain things are really starting to stress me out, which I'm trying not to get stressed out about, because if we don't move everything out of the house on the Friday, it's not the end of the world. Like, we haven't got people moving in here on the Friday as well, so there's no clash. Like, we can come back and get some smaller bits if we need to, but I don't want to do that, and it's stressing me out.
Well, the thing is, in 4 days' time, we're recording this on Wednesday. You'll be in, it'll be done.
Yeah.
It'll be a whole load of other stress,
Yeah,
to be honest.
definitely.
But when we moved into this house, I was working in Leicester, so I didn't get back till Thursday night. We moved on the Friday. I got up at the crack of dawn, and it was November as well, so it was cold, wet and miserable. Filled the car up with stuff to go to the dump. Got to the dump at 8 o'clock when it was supposed to open. Nobody in sight. So he didn't turn up for half an hour. So everything was now half an hour late. But it got moved. And we ended up with boxes in the middle of the lounge, and we're just chucking stuff in there that we've been using.
Yeah.
And it all got here, and it all got unpacked. And by 6 o'clock that night, all our stuff's in the house. We're in the house. Job done.
Yeah. I think I just need to remember that, like, we haven't got that much stuff. If we, like, Chris tomorrow should be able to do it all by himself. He could have probably done the whole house by himself in one day of, like, just packing. But I think because in my head I'm like, oh, wait, no, we need to use that, so we can't pack that yet.
Yeah.
So that needs to be packed last minute. And there's just a lot of stuff building up that needs to be done last minute, and that's what's getting me. So I'm dismantling the sofa tonight.
Well, that's perhaps a little early, but...
Well, yeah. It's just because then we'll dismantle the bed Thursday night. I don't want to leave everything till Thursday night.
No, I understand that.
And the main thing we need to do is empty the loft, because I am still working tomorrow. So once I finish work, it'll be empty the loft and do one final dump run with the stuff from the loft.
So how much stuff is up there?
God knows, you know. There's a Christmas tree, a Christmas box, some stools. I think there's a bed up there, but like taken apart.
Well, yeah, very difficult to get through a loft hatch ready, fully formed.
True. But I think that might be it. But then I do also remember being like, oh, we'll just shove that in the loft, and then shoving it in the loft.
Well, that's right. As long as it's, it's already boxed up, isn't it? So it can come down down from the loft and straight in the van if necessary.
Yeah, true. That is true.
We got enough people that you can have somebody going up and down the loft and somebody else filling the van. So
Yeah, we'll be fine.
You will be absolutely fine. I would advise having a box where you can just throw stuff in. And the thing is, the stuff that goes in there will be the stuff that you need straight away.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we've packed overnight bags.
Oh, you're staying away as well?
No, for the both of us, so that everything that we need personally is in those bags. But then, yeah, we should have one that we can shove like the kettle in.
Absolutely.
Some cups, the glasses that we've drank out of. That's a good plan. I'll do that.
I believe Wife of Grumpy's bringing in all sorts of coffee making equipment.
Well, don't.
So.
Every day I get a new phone call. Oh, I'm going to bring my floor steamer and I'll steam the floors before we start putting everything in the house.
What?
She's going to steam the floors before we bring anything in. So I was like, all right, you do that and we'll just take everything upstairs while you're steaming the floor.
That sounds like a very bad idea to me. And I hear there's a one-way system as well.
Yeah, that is an actual thing that will work, because we have the side door is right by the bottom of the stairs, so that anything that needs to go upstairs can go in the side door, and then everything into the kitchen can just go straight down the hall, because it's not very wide.
It's not really a one-way system, is it?
No, it's not. I don't know what you would call it, but it's not one way, because you don't come out a different end. You come out
maybe
the same
you should.
way.
Maybe you should come out a different end.
Everyone come out the garden doors or the window. That seems quite logical at this moment in time.
Or could we chuck stuff up from the ground to the upstairs window?
Maybe we could make a little hoist thing.
I was just thinking of lobbing the boxes. They're not very heavy. Apart from one, I understand.
Oh yeah,
Chris fills.
The one box Chris has done so far, he packed full with like PlayStation and the Switch, and I don't actually know what else. I went to pick it up and couldn't physically lift it. I'm not that strong, to be fair, but...
That's a bit of an understatement.
But I've been able to, like... There's a lot... I can lift a box. I used to carry 40 kilograms up and down 3 flights of stairs every day. Like, I'm not...
When was that, then?
Good few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so that box is his. That has his name on it. And when anyone comes to see that box, no one else is allowed to lift it other than him, because he has overpacked that so much.
I'm surprised you didn't colour code it with some tape.
No, just I was in the writing mode by then, so his name got written.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, well, we won't revisit that.
No. But we did have an exciting delivery this week.
Oh, go on then.
My new Hoover.
Which isn't actually a Hoover, is it?
Yes. Oh, no, it's a shark hoop. It's a vacuum. Sorry, it's
Vacuum
a cordless
cleaner.
vacuum cleaner. Yeah, so exciting. And we used it. We thought we got it out and just make sure it all worked. So we used it, and we'd only hoovered the floor in here about 2 days ago, and the dust that it got out of the carpet is actually ridiculous.
The thing that interested me most about the vacuum cleaner you've bought is that it doesn't get caught up with hair. It's got some sort of technology in there. I'd be interested to see how well that works.
From first looks, my hair, because I have a lot of long hair that falls out a lot, still got wrapped around, but it was really easy to get off.
Oh, well, that's a plus.
Yeah. So it's so wide, you can put scissors down and just cut it and then pull it, and it all came out. So it really didn't take long to clear the hair from it.
It's a bit of a disappointment, but if it's easy to get off, it's...
We weren't sure if there was a setting that we hadn't turned on, or...
Did you read the instruction booklet first?
I wasn't in control of this, actually. I left it down to Chris, and
So that'll be a no then.
I think he skim read it. From what I heard, it got put together and turned on very quickly.
Yeah, there was no reading involved there.
No. But it's a very swanky Hoover, and it's also pink, which I didn't realise.
Oh, nice.
But it also folds, so it can be put in a smaller cupboard.
Yes, it looked like it sort of articulated.
Yeah, it's flexology, so you can get it right down under a sofa.
Well, we look forward to seeing that in action.
I'm very adult now that I
Friday.
get excited about a Hoover.
Yes, I was going to say, when did you suddenly grow up? Well, I look forward to Bacon Butties at 9:30 on Friday.
Yes, yeah, Greg's.
Great, well... Yes, I was slightly disappointed they weren't homemade, but...
You can have a sausage roll as well if you want one.
What, homemade?
No, Greg's.
Oh. Or maybe for lunch. Anyway, do you remember some weeks ago, I think we had 2 or 3 weeks on the trot where we discussed drilling through the earth to the other side?
Yes.
Well, it turns out somebody in our road has made a start on it.
Have they?
Yes, they have. So, Monday... Friday, getting ahead of myself now. Monday, the Amazon driver bangs on the door, says, "Yeah, do you know," and I'm stereotyping a delivery driver here, "you've got a hole in the road outside your house." I went, So I went and had a look. And this happened about a year ago. So it's where the storm drain is, on the other side of the road.
It's like a bit of a sinkhole.
Yeah, and there's been a dip there, and there was a very large hole there last year, which they allegedly fixed. But there's about a 3-inch diameter hole that you can put your arm all the way in, although you wouldn't want to because you can smell the drain.
Oh, that's not good.
No, not good at all. So I think I might go out there with my phone. One of the things we looked at was an app, so you can see where you would come out if you carried on drilling.
Yes.
Only on Android. So I'll go and try that later. Anyway, so I phoned the county council to look after the roads and finally got through to somebody. He was not overly concerned. He said how deep it is. And I said, about 3 or 4 foot. And he went, "Did you say feet?" I went, yeah. He went, "Oh, I thought it was just a pothole." He said, no.
It's a proper
hole.
hole.
I said, no, it's a big hole. I don't think you repaired it properly last year. And there's going to be some damage to a car because it's spreading as we speak. So good for them. They got somebody out within the hour. And
That's good.
Team turned up. It was a young lad and an old boy. And the old boy went, "Oh my God." And he was very concerned about the whole road collapsing.
Oh my God.
So he wanted to shut the whole thing off, massive great bits of fencing and diversion signs and all sorts. Obviously got talked down a little bit. So we've got some, what I would call children's plastic fencing around it. Because on his work docket, it had a hole in the pavement, not in the road.
Oh.
So after all that excitement on Monday, 2 days later, nothing's been done about it.
So they just fenced it off. Now it's going to fix itself. It's got a fence around it.
Well, what it needs is quite a long section dug up and the drain repaired, because the drain's definitely broken. And you get wafts of it every now and then through the house, which is not overly pleasant. But I think it's foul water. It's not lavatory. The
dishwasher water rather than
yes,
toilet water.
Yes. So Simon round the corner popped by, and I suggested he put his hand down and see what was in there. I don't think I'll do that.
No.
Well, God, it's not very neighbourly, is it?
I dare you.
Yeah, I dare you.
I remember there was a cone in it for quite a long time.
Yes, there was. But you'd hear the cars going past at night, the bottom of the cars grounding out on on the tarmac. It is a good start towards the other side of the earth.
It is. It wouldn't be a bad place to give it a go.
Well, it's a bit inconvenient for other people, though.
Yeah, there's 2 entrances to the road. Be fine.
Well, that's true. It's true. We'd have to get a long way round, though.
Yeah, true. You would.
Anyway, we talked last week about the Friends reunion. I did finally see the Friday night dinner 10-year anniversary special.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I need to.
It's worth seeing. It's very good. I would say it was better than the Friends one in many ways. I mean, it was very sad. I mean, it had obviously Paul Ritter's last appearance, and he didn't look well at all.
No.
But hats off to the guy for
Still doing it.
insisting that he took part, much against other actors suggesting that he doesn't. But it was odd because you saw clips on it and you go, I don't remember that bit, and I'm sure we've seen all of it.
So now you need to rewatch it.
Yeah. But it was great. And going back to eating out of date food, of course, that was one of his specialities, eating out of the bin.
Yes.
And having a favourite tin of meat in the shed, which they did cover him opening and eating. It was, it's fine. It's fine.
Lovely bit of squirrel.
Lovely bit of squirrel. So they went through all of the catchphrases, which they never intended to be catchphrases. Obviously, the famous one, which we can't repeat because this is a family podcast.
Yes.
Very funny. So I highly recommend it. It is a little bit of a tearjerker, I have to be honest, particularly at the beginning, with Tamsin Greig speaking. But it's great. And they obviously thoroughly enjoyed
being with each
making
other.
it.
Yeah.
And it was all filmed inside a house. I assumed that the inside was sets.
Oh, but it's a real house.
Outside. Yeah, so it's a house they took over however long they needed. And they got other shots of around the dinner table, for example. So a dinner scene, the round the table scene, would take a day to film.
You can tell that it's good acting and a good story when they don't actually ever leave the house.
They do occasionally go to the pub.
But the majority of the shows are just around the dinner table and just casual conversation between them all.
But they also covered obviously if you're sat at a dinner table pretending to eat for 8 hours, the trick is not actually to eat anything, or to eat very little. And they had one of the boys' girlfriends there. She was quite a young actress, not experienced this sort of thing. And she's tucking into the potatoes.
Oh, no.
And after about an hour, one of them said, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
You're never
going to finish.
No. Very, very funny. And the other interesting part of that was the writer, Robert Popper, who'd based the whole thing on his childhood.
Had he?
And Martin was basically his dad. And some of the things, taking his top off. And he basically said any dad over 50 starts to do some weird things, which is not always the case.
Started.
No.
You definitely have.
Name one thing that's odd.
You wear pyjamas all the time.
Well, I'm not wearing them now.
Well, you'll be in them in a minute, I'm sure of it.
No, it's too hot. It's past the hot night for pyjamas, which does leave me with a bit of a quandary in the morning if I get up and start working straight away. So I have to get dressed now, which is
that's a bit annoying.
Pain. Yes, so highly recommended.
Very. I will try and catch that.
And talking of warm weather, we had a very hot spell last week, and there's a newsreader who I always thought didn't need to be formally dressed beneath the desk, wearing shorts and boat shoes.
Yeah, good for him.
Absolutely good for him. But they caught him in a very panning introduction where they went from behind the desk round to in front of it. Sean Lay is his name. So well done, Sean.
Yeah.
Yes, good on you.
I saw a thing where the women, what are they called, those annoying women that do the show together.
Daughters.
No. All right, no. The ones that do the show around the table.
Is it loose women?
Oh, God, yeah, loose women. The only one I like is Stacey Solomon, really. But they were all saying he shouldn't have done that. He should have been dressed properly. And, it's not... I can't remember all the words they were using. But basically just saying it's very inappropriate for him to be wearing shorts. I was like, if that was a woman, she would have had the option to wear a skirt in the heat. So why can't he wear shorts if it's hot?
Yes, your sister starts spitting teeth out whenever she sees that programme.
Oh.
She's got a real bee in her bonnet about that.
I'm not a fan. Although I do like Stacey Solomon, and she does have some... She was the one saying, why can't he wear shorts? I don't understand how that's affecting his job, at all.
No. I mean, I've worn shorts to work during the summer for donkey's years. Just, if the office is warm, which it often is, with lots of computer kit in it, I'm not going to sit there and...
Sweat.
Melt.
You'll do your job
Yeah,
better
exactly.
being the right temperature.
Oh, I don't know about that. I just moan more about being too hot. And you may thought you've bought Chris's dream house with the astroturf back garden.
Yeah.
But there is one up for sale with a 4-bedroom house covered entirely in astroturf.
I would not enjoy. I've not actually walked barefoot on astroturf yet, so we'll see that on Friday. But I can't imagine it's very comfortable to step on.
No, and interestingly, I saw during the week somebody had measured the temperature on grass and on astroturf, and it is much, much hotter. It retains the heat much more than normal grass does. So you have to be very careful. I mean, particularly if you've got animals as well.
Oh, that's good to
If
know.
you had a dog walking on it, I mean, there's a big thing again at the moment about not walking dogs at lunchtime when the pavements are blisteringly hot. The same applies to astroturf.
That's good to know, because I didn't know that.
No, it hadn't crossed my mind until then. But I have got a one of these thermometers that you point and press. So I might bring that over on Friday and give that a go.
Yes.
But they've covered the conservatory floor. The bathroom, ensuite bathroom, is grass. It's just everywhere you could imagine they've put it.
Crazy.
Which I do find very bizarre. I don't know how well that would clean up.
I think you can hoover it, because we've had conversations about not having to mow our lawn,
Yeah.
but we will need to hoover the lawn.
Yeah. Yep, any flat surface, they've put astroturf down. That's going to be a very narrow market, which is basically Chris.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. How much was it on for? Because to re-carpet the whole house wouldn't be cheap.
It's St Austell in Cornwall, and it's £300,000.
So that house around here would probably be more like 5. So that's not a cheap house to have astroturf all over it.
Well, it's not going to be cheap to recarpet, as you say.
I'm sure there'll be someone, won't there? There'll be one person some golfer would love that. Trim it down.
Golfer.
Can the golfers play on astroturf?
Oh, I don't know. That
have
might
to
not
ask
be the
Mum.
right thing for
Might be a
them.
bit
And anyway, they
bit
shouldn't be
long.
swinging indoors.
That applies to multiple scenarios.
Absolutely right. Talking of which, a friend of mine had a heart attack, which was quite serious, a few years back, and survived, and he's fit and healthy now. And about a week after he came out of hospital, we popped round to see him, and he was sat there, and his wife was there, and saying, "Oh, do you know what caused him?" And his wife said, "It's all the swinging." At which point we all looked at one another and went, "Whoa!" So,
Okay.
quite a lot of information, and his wife went very red and then said, "I meant the golf." So that was quite a good recovery, actually.
Yes.
So I popped down to the allotment at the weekend for the first time in a good few weeks, partly because of my back being a bit dodgy and the weather. We've had about 4 weeks of non-stop rain. I think, and whenever I've thought, "Oh, I've popped down there," it's been pouring with rain, which does make me a little bit of a lightweight, to be honest. But
Not a hardcore gardener.
no. And, well, there's another reason for this. It's not only to do with the fact that it's all a bit soggy where you're trying to grow stuff, is that the area for parking cars, I've got the car stuck on there twice now because it just gets so soggy. They put some wood chip and stuff down, which sort of helps, but I'm always a bit nervous, to be honest, because it's the entranceway to the water treatment place. You can't park on the road because they've got big containers going in and out, so you have to park there, or a couple of minute walk away, which you could do. So anyway, so I arrived there and it was very green.
Yes,
There
I
was an
bet.
awful lot of weeding to be done. But the rhubarb seems to be doing all right. There was a couple of flowers which are not so good, so I've whipped those off.
Oh, you're not meant to have
And,
flowers.
No, you're not. And also the garlic was smelling nice. If you remember at Old Harry
Yes.
in the summer, it always smells of garlic just there. So there was a bit of an aroma of that, and the red onions as well were looking good. So I'm hoping that it
For a good harvest.
Yes, I hope so. I've been reading some horror stories this week about onions and disease, which is so bad you can't use the plot again for 15 years for onions.
Oh, for onions.
For onions. Yeah, you can use it for other things, but you can't get rid of it. Well, unless you dig up all the soil, throw it away and get new stuff, I suppose. So hopefully there'll be none of that. So that should be ready very soon. It should be good. And 3 of my Brussels sprout seedlings that I thought had been devoured by unknown thing, they seem to have survived. If I can nurture them back
Are they
into
still at the
some sort of
house,
life.
or are they?
They're still at the house. No, they're still at the house. So
Not
give them
ready
another
to be
couple of weeks.
transported yet.
No, but I wanted to do it late so that they're ready for Christmas. But,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Well, I have some gardening news.
Oh,
My little
excellent!
blueberry plant. It's gone for 3 years of berries.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so they've just started. So there won't be any to eat on Friday, unfortunately, but he is half flowering and half starting to make the shape of the blueberry,
Excellent.
which I learnt a lot getting that plant about blueberries that I didn't know, is that they flower and then where the edge of the spiky bit on the blueberry is where the flowers dropped off.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then the little circle at the back is where it's attached to the plant. So like the spiky bit is like the leaves of the flower. Very interesting.
Well, I know that.
Yep. So we'll have plenty of blueberries in the new house.
Good.
And I think we're going to get another one because we really like our blueberry plant.
Yeah, I'm surprised you can get away with one, to be honest. I just thought you needed more than one.
So are we. I feel like it's just super fertile plant.
Maybe a different type where they only have the self-pollinating.
Yeah, maybe. We do get quite a lot of bees and stuff around, so maybe we've just been super lucky that we've had bees pollinating it without us even realising.
Possibly. Although some of them are pollinated by wind rather than insects.
It's quite windy around here too.
Yeah, sweet corn I think is more wind because you have to have them close enough together that they catch.
But I'll tell you what, we bought ours it would have been a few months ago when we got it, just before it started to flower. And they're obviously all together at the garden centre, and I think that helps because they're all pollinating each other just before they're about to start flowering.
But you've had that one 3 years, haven't you?
Yeah. Sorry, so now it's self-pollinating itself, but to start with, when we got it,
Okay.
it was in a big bunch of other ones.
Maybe.
Can it last that 3 years?
I don't know.
The
I don't think so,
pollination.
but my knowledge of green things is very limited, as demonstrated by the produce that comes out of a small allotment.
It's more of a fun thing than a accuracy
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're trying to be self-sufficient, we don't survive very long.
I'd live off blueberries for 2 months every year.
Well, unless it was bindweed and nettles. Although nettles are supposed to be very good for you if you boil them down.
Yeah. A lot of people
So
in
I
the
might
war lived
give
off
that-
didn't they? Nettle soup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be a bit wary about drinking it. But... So, have you got a top tip for us?
I do.
Is it a lippy brain top tip?
It is a lippy brain top
Oh, they're
tip.
the best ones.
And it's not about moving either.
Oh, thank goodness for
It's
that.
about the sun. Well, it's not about
Ooh.
the sun, but I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and obviously it's getting a lot hotter, and people are asking other people that they know, obviously because of COVID, put sun cream on them. So my top tip is, if you ever get asked to put sun cream on someone, make sure you draw a funny shape in it.
Oh, that's an evil top tip.
It's a good top tip though. It doesn't have to be big, it can just be something little on the shoulder. It's good fun.
It has to be said, when it comes to sun cream, the four of us went away 3 years ago to Greece. And wife and Grumpy and I had a week on our own, which was idyllic. And then you two turned up.
Yeah.
Charlotte turns up with a urine infection.
It almost turned into a kidney infection.
Well, that was 1 degree away from going to hospital. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, in Greece, you can buy antibiotics over the counter, so that resolved that one. But you both put sun cream on, and it looked like a 3-year-old had done it, quite frankly. You put a bit in your hand and gone splat over part of your body. So you had a bit that was whitish, and then a whole load that was reddish on the first day.
My main issue was I did the aqua aerobics and I forgot to reapply after the aqua aerobics.
Well, I don't think it was that because of the shape of it. You just didn't put it on properly in the first place. And I don't know what it is. When your children are with you, they revert back to 3-year-olds.
Yes, they do.
There's no doubt about that whatsoever.
Because I don't normally burn on holiday. I'm normally quite good when I'm on my own.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're not expecting us to take responsibility. And we're not responsible parents, as you know.
That was a great holiday.
That was good, particularly the all-inclusive cocktail menu.
Yes, I'd been there for my 21st birthday as a little trip and then suggested it, and It's an adults only. That helps as well.
Yes.
Adults only. And
Well, you two
banging
turned
food.
up and... Yeah, the food was superb.
Adults.
Well, adult in age.
Yes.
My fact of the week.
Yes. Fact.
Fun, possibly. Informative, definitely.
Oh, okay.
So, one evening, while rushing for dinner after a long day at the laboratory, Konstantin Fauberg, a chemist at Johns Hopkins, forgot to wash his hands that had traces of benzoic sulfamide on it.
Oh.
This compound made his dinner taste sweet, and that's how he discovered the artificial sweetener saccharin.
No way.
So many of these discoveries are accidents.
Completely accidental.
Yeah, penicillin, allegedly post-it
God,
notes.
you wouldn't want to make that mistake with the wrong chemical, though, would you?
Well, it does make you wonder how many people have
Died from...
met an early demise because they've had an accident. I always think that about mushrooms, actually, when people eat mushrooms.
Yeah, when they go scavenging for mushrooms and find them and eat them, and I'm like...
Well, you look in the book and it goes, don't eat this, it's poisonous. I thought, well, somebody must have done it in the past and they've...
For them to know that.
Exactly. Anyway, next week,
Yes.
we're pre-recording some stuff because you're going to
Yeah.
be too exhausted and chaotic after the house move.
I think so, yeah.
So next week's podcast will be pre-recorded, and then the week after we'll be able to hear all about
The stress.
the adventures of house moving.
Oh, God. I hope there isn't too many, to be honest. I hope it's a very boring episode and nothing really happened.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
That would be very nice. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Bye.